Of all places the dart could hit, it went for Argentina. Great, now I have to make friends with Gauchos who have weird relationships with their horses, to learn tango steps without breaking my legs, and pretend I know the difference between one Malbec and another. But then came the Tigre Delta, tons of tasty asado, the story of Eva Peron, and the eerie silence of the Recoleta Cemetery. Argentina isn't just dramatic, it is the perfect drama. And yes, it's all the darts' fault. My name is Soren. I throw darts at the world map and travel wherever they land, no matter how far or difficult it is. During a previous episode, filmed in Colombia, I asked some friends who joined me there from all over the world to throw a dart at the map for me, and I committed to go wherever it landed. Argentina was the place, and what a location.
Argentina is known for its natural beauties. We have all the kinds of landscapes, from the glaciers in the south, in Patagonia. We have the southernmost city in the world, which is Ushuaia, which is beautiful. And then we had the wine regions. The Malbec is a grape that grows very well here in the wine region in Mendoza by the Andes. Mountains like Aconcagua, which is the highest peak in America. And we also have in the north the waterfalls, the Iguazu waterfalls, which are considered now, were named one of the 7 natural beauties of the world. Another thing that we are known for is the quality of our beef. Yes, everybody wants to come here and have one of those huge steaks.
And that's where we'll start, with the big, juicy Argentinian steak, and not from a restaurant, but from an authentic place in the countryside. For that, we had to go in the heart of Argentina, to a town called San Antonio de Areco, which still preserves in full today the originality of the Gaucho culture. A Gaucho is an Argentinian cowboy, a man who gets in touch the best with the nature. And today we were invited for a real traditional cultural Argentinian experience at the ranch called Ombu. We were invited to have the best wine, Asado, which is their national barbecue, and some horseback riding. I'm very excited about it and can't wait to show it.
This is one of the oldest towns in Argentina, also is the most traditional one. There were some villagers who were sent from Buenos Aires 400 years ago, but then it was definitely founded in 1730, almost 300 years ago. It's the home for the largest and oldest Gaucho festival in Argentina. Every first week of November, all the Gauchos are coming from all over Argentina, gathering here for celebrate the Gaucho tradition for an entire week of dancing and music, parade, expositions.
One interesting thing is that when a Gaucho would go to a bar and he would wear this belt, which is called rastre, and he'd have to actually pay for his bill, he would pay with one of these coins. So he would take the coin out by moving this string out. So he would pull the string out and then a coin would come out, so he would pay for his bill.
It's a very traditional and very conservative town, so most of the people are really aware of the importance of keeping all these fashion plays in place. And that's why there are so many regulations by which you couldn't modify the colors of your shop, of your house. You cannot build more than 2 stores. You cannot change the design, the windows, the doors in this area. If you wanted to change the color of your house, you should have a special allowance from the mayor.
If you're coming to Argentina, being a Gaucho for a day is a must. You have to do this. I had an amazing day and I got to experience what the real culture is about.
Thank you.
As I returned to Buenos Aires and was pleasantly surprised by the vibe I got from this country, I decided, as usual by now, to make a random call to all the fans and friends to see who wants to join me in Argentina out of the blue for what I would call a spark experience.
Thing that sharing that with people that are as crazy as you are, that love this kind of trips, it's perfect. What you have behind all this is being happy.
And they all came.
I'd never met Soren, but when I started explaining to people what I was going to do, and I kind of read a little bit about him, and I'm glad I did.
And you don't want to be doing this when you're in your 90s. When you have the ability to have the chance, the opportunity that people are going to show you the best of places, man, you got to take it.
I think that all of that's great. I like that it wasn't hard to do. The hardest thing to do was getting here.
Never been here. I'm excited to take a tango lesson in Buenos Aires. I mean, that itself is a bucket list item.
And boy, did we do it.
I will say that Buenos Aires is diversity. You can do so many different things in just one day, and even just one neighborhood, in one corner, you can find architecture, you can find multicultural experiences, and that's why I say diversity.
If I have to find a word to speak about Buenos Aires, I would say that unique. Architecture in Buenos Aires is astonishing. You have this combination. It's very eclectical because you can have a beautiful French palace next to a skyscraper, and then 2 blocks away you have a house from the 19th century.
It's a very refined and elegant city, not just with the architecture, but even with the way people act and the way they dress. There is kind of a refined sense of service when you go out to a restaurant. There is a certain dignity in the way people carry themselves that I think traces itself back to when Argentina had some better times in its economy.
Buenos Aires, it's just the Paris of South America, the saying goes, and because it feels like that.
Now let's see how the tango was invented.
San Telmo is the oldest neighborhood in town. There are a lot of houses of very wealthy families. The typical house from the first half of the 19th century was kind of a Roman house with 3 patios and all the rooms that were facing those patios. But after 2 or 3 epidemics of yellow fever, cholera, during the 1870s, San Telmo was pretty close from the port. These wealthy families decided to move to upper places. So those houses remained as tenement houses, what we call conventillos. Conventillos, it comes from the word convent, yes, living in community. And there is where the immigrants that came from Europe used to stay. They rented a room. You had people from Italy, mainly from Italy, from Spain, Poland, Russia. So those people were all in different rooms and they shared the common spaces like kitchens, bathrooms. So these people were escaping from Europe from poverty or wars. They were not really happy to be here. They were here because just was a place where they could come. So most of them brought things from their hometown, and usually that was an instrument. It could be a guitar, a violin, an accordion. So during those days that they did not work, maybe on a Sunday, they would gather together in those common spaces, and they would all play something from their homeland, right? So you could have Spanish playing the guitar next to, I don't know, an Italian with an accordion doing the same. And the only language that they shared was music. because they all spoke different languages. They could not communicate, but language of music was universal. So these combination of different rhythms of different parts of Europe and this melancholy of the people, of these people that were trying, they were remembering and longing for their hometown, blended in a way that gave birth to what was then the tango.
Now that we found out how the tango was born, we decided it was time to learn the dance at a place called La Viruta and get ready for milonga, which is something you've never seen before in any city in the world. People of all ages go dancing on the streets of Buenos Aires without even having a reason to celebrate, just life.
When we say we go to La Milonga is the place where you go to dance tango. Milonga, it's also the rhythm, this tango but more quickly. In the Milonga, the people mix tango with salsa, but it's only a 30% of another rhythm or rock and roll, and then 70% of tango. This is La Milonga.
I was at a place in an old area. I was shocked because I thought that the youngest person was about 60 and the oldest person must have been 105, and they were dancing like kids in a sock hop in grade 7, and they would go out and pick a partner and dance, come back, have a drink. I sat and I said, when I hear these people in the 70s, 80s, 90s and telling me, well, I'm old, life is done, and I stood there, watched these people leave at 1 in the morning, and they were laughing, and then they were going to go for a drink. This is 1 in the morning. This was on a Wednesday or a Thursday night. 80, 90-year-olds. In North America, they're asleep by 9 o'clock.
I really enjoy taking dance lessons with my husband. I like to think that we are skilled. That is a lie. We are not skilled, and that showed up yet again, trying to learn to tango.
Well, probably the least favorite thing I was looking forward to ended up to be one of the best experiences. And it was way easier than what I thought it would be.
A memorable night here in La Viruta was at 5 in the morning. I saw Björk, and she danced another thing, not tango, but she danced all night with a very nice dress. We have a lot of famous people like William Dafoe, Liza Minnelli. We have a lot.
Argentina is known for many things: tango, art, soccer, but one of the most important things it's known for is wine. So today, thanks to a company here in Buenos Aires called Day Tours for You, we're gonna have, I hope, a fantastic wine tasting, and I have Vanessa here with me from the company. What are we gonna do today?
We're gonna taste different kinds of Malbec, which is a traditional wine in Argentina. The wine experience is a private wine tasting. We will be drinking different kinds of wine that comes from several parts of the country. Each one is special, and it is amazing that you can enjoy a full experience because it is served with finger food and cheese that completes the night.
Argentina is a country with a very long history of wine. Wine is something to put on the table and to enjoy with food. It's part of the Argentinian culture. Malbec has been such a success. Originally is from Cahors in the southwest of France, and it wasn't very successful there. It was known as the black grape. Didn't make very good wine. It was very harsh, very rough. When it was imported, thanks to President Sarmiento originally, to change the wine industry, basically it found its place. What's interesting is Argentina is a very long, narrow country, and Argentine Malbec is very flexible. We can go from 3,000 meters above sea level in the northeast in Salta, right the way down to Patagonia, and I can guarantee you can find a fantastic Malbec found in each of these places.
Wine tasting was great. I've been to several wine tastings with my wife, and they're always a little bit different, but it was great to have that discussion with an expert who really, you can tell he's passionate about wine, and he's passionate about his time in Argentina, and it was nice to understand more about Malbecs in particular, which are kind of famous from Argentina.
Basically, we tried 4 wines. We tried the only autochthonous grape from Argentina, which is Torrontés. It's basically a white wine. It's very bitter on the finish, very citrusy. And then we tried 3 Malbecs from different areas, different zones of Argentina. We tried a Malbec from Patagonia, which had some oak treatment, very fresh. And then we tried a wine which is made organically and biodynamically by a winery called Chacana. That was called Aini Malbec. And we finished with a wine made by Susana Balbo, an Argentinian enologist who was the first female enologist to qualify in Argentina in 1981, a very special lady.
So a couple of the folks in the group are knowledgeable about wine and they know a lot about it. I don't. I go to Costco, I find something that's rated over 90 and I buy it. That's how I pick wine.
And I slept like a baby, because the next day was a tough one. We were booked for a Tigre Delta expedition.
The Tigre tour starts in Puerto Madero. You will be navigating on Rio de la Plata. You will have an amazing and different or unique view of Buenos Aires. Then you reach the Delta, where there are small islands, and you will learn about the lifestyle that is there, that exists there.
Tigre was really cool. Tigre was something I'd never even seen or heard of or really knew existed. Just outside of the city of Buenos Aires, it feels almost like Venice. It's kind of a special place.
It still belongs to Buenos Aires, but the architecture is different, more nature around. So I think it's a nice opportunity to know the surroundings of the city and to have like a full perspective.
We're on this boat with a bunch of other people. It's kind of like if you've ever been to Granville Island out of Vancouver. This is pretty much the same thing, only a lot better, I think.
It was really pretty and it surprised me. I guess I didn't know what to expect, but there were lots of beautiful homes right there on the water.
The boat was a really nice break from traffic, so we were able to get there quickly, and it was a beautiful cruise. And then just driving around the Delta, I thought was very, very interesting, seeing all the different buildings and hearing about, the markets and the different docks and such like that. We had a nice little lunch. It's very nice.
The most loved Argentinian female in history was Eva Peron, the first lady who died in 1952 when she was only 32 years old and 3 million people attended her funeral. You probably knew that, but if you didn't, here is a goosebumps-filled story you need to know. After her death, her husband, the president of Argentina, Juan Perón, embalmed Eva's body so people could still visit her and pay their respects. However, while that was happening, a military coup took place in Buenos Aires and Juan Perón was overthrown in a matter of hours. He fled the country but couldn't secure Eva's body, which was still not buried. The body disappeared in the following days, and its whereabouts were a mystery for 16 years. After almost 2 decades, it was discovered in a crypt located in Milano, Italy, in the Monumental Cemetery, under the name Maria Maggi. After the discovery, Eva's body was sent to Spain, where her former husband Juan Perón was living in exile with a new wife. However, after 2 years in Spain, where it was kept right inside their apartment, Evita's corpse came back to Argentina along with Juan Perón as he finally returned from exile and became president of Argentina again in 1973. What's even more interesting is that Eva's body was finally put to rest in the Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires, one of the most famous cemeteries on the planet, but once again, she didn't receive what she really deserved.
You'll be puzzled when you see her mausoleum because it's just a regular one. There's nothing special about it. If you don't know that is Eva Perón's mausoleum, you would just pass by and you wouldn't notice.
Going and seeing Eva Peron's final resting place was exquisite, so I enjoyed that a great deal too. And it was interesting how many people asked us if we knew where her resting place was, and I was like, we're gonna find it, so stick close if you want.
I've traveled a fair amount, here a little bit in South America, but across Europe and North America. I've never been to a cemetery like the Recoleta. It's quite unique. We did come across the tomb of Eva Perón, and that was kind of neat because knowing a little as I did about Argentinian politics, you find out that she was actually quite opposed to the politics of the other people that are buried in the cemetery, because she was a populist in a sense, a left-wing socialist, and the cemetery is the final resting grounds for most of Argentina's elite. So it's kind of interesting to find out that other families opposed her tomb in the cemetery because of her politics were directly opposite theirs. And yet when you go there, you see the flowers, you see the notes, people still write and leave there, so it's kind of a really famous landmark for the city.
Part of what I liked about it, I kept seeing different things and taking pictures and so forth, but it's just this juxtaposition of history, and then you'd see a plane going overhead, or you'd look up at the spire of one of these mausoleums and then see a modern building right behind it.
This is like unreal. I would recommend this to anybody.
Although it's not going through its best times, Argentina was one of the few countries that made me think that I could retire here one day. And when I also think that I got here because of a random throw of a dart at the world map that took place in a totally different country, it made me appreciate life a lot more. To me, it's all about collecting memories, not things. Life is short.
Well, you only live life once, and you need to really enjoy it. And I think if you live in that little wee comfort zone, you're never going to experience all the stuff that you possibly can.
You never know what's coming. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you have to live for the future enough that you can continue to do things, take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your finances, etc. But you have to try to get those experiences in when you can.
You can stay in your same little box all the time and never come out of that box, and life will pass you by.
Well, I think a lot of people have goals in what they want to see and do with their life. Not just in terms of their career or how much money they want to make, but also in terms of the reasons that make life worth living. And I think travel is a big one.
Soren is one of those guys that I think everybody needs in his life.
In Argentina, we have this idea of do what you like when you can. I mean, you can do it now, just do it. Don't wait.
And because we're at the end of the episode and I have to throw a new dart at the world map to determine my next destination, I'm going to do it, but it's going to be in just as a random place as I like to live my lifestyle. Subscribe to see what a dart brings next.